All right, thanks, Mike. Mike says we're live. So when you find that, John, we'll make that change.
Yeah, yeah, it's in 2.2. It's one of the whereas clauses there.
All right, so we just got to fix that from service. All right, so let me get started. In the meantime, well, if you find that item, you can mark it to be fixed and we'll pick up that item. All right, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July 2nd, 2025 PEDH virtual committee meeting. The committee meeting can be viewed on HPA-TV, Comcast, and Frontier Government Channel 96 and 6032. The meeting will also be streamed via hpa-tv.org, HPA-TV Facebook page, and HPA-TV Roku TV, Apple TV, and Amazon TV apps. The virtual committee meeting will also be rebroadcast and made available on HPA-TV YouTube channel. So again, good evening, everyone. Let me introduce everyone. Committee members here at the Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee. We have Majority Leader Marilyn Rossetti, who is a committee member. We have Councilman John Gale, who is the co-chair. I'm Shirley Surgeon, and I am the chair of the committee. We have also committee member Molly Rosado, and I'm trying to see else who is here. We also have Councilman Josh Mitchum, who's also a committee member.
I'm here, madam.
And you have Amilcar Hernandez.
Amilcar, and we have Councilman Hernandez, who's also a committee chair, joining us this evening. We also have here at the committee meeting our attorney, wonderful Richard Velasco, who is joining us. We also have our DDS director, Jeff Walker. We also have from Development Services, William Diaz. And I can't see who else. Did I miss anyone? If I missed anyone, just please let me know. And William, what is your title?
Good question. Assistant Director of Economic Development.
Thank you, William.
Newly promoted Assistant Director of Economic Development, if I may.
I wanted to say that, but I wanted him to I want everyone to acknowledge the newly promoted and well-deserved Assistant Director of Economic Development. Yay, William.
Thank
and
you.
Mr. Walker, please don't overwork him. And those are the who's on the committee meeting here tonight. Who else is here? If anybody else is going to acknowledge it, please let me know. So I'm looking for a couple of motions tonight. One item.
Hi, Danny Kendrick is here.
I'm sorry?
At 525 Main Street and nearby properties for the Spectrum Construction Development.
Daniel, if you could mute yourself, that'd be great. Good. So a couple of motion I'm looking for the floor tonight, and that's taking some of the items out of order. Items 2 and 2.2 and 2.6. I'm also looking for another motion to postpone two items, items 2.3 and items 2.5. So who's going to make the two motions?
I'll move to postpone items 2.3 and 2.5.
Second.
Item has been made and properly second to postpone items 2.3 and 2.5. Are there any discussion?
Just Madam Chair, quickly, because I don't have the thing right in front of me. What are 2 and 3 and 2.5, and for anyone who's watching?
Absolutely, Councilman Mitchum. Items 2.3 is resolution directing Department of Public Works to evaluate, reconfigure bike lanes to support small business viability and multimodal safety. And items 2.5 is a resolution from Mayor Arulampalam authorizing the sale of 214-2.6 Mother Street. Development Services is asking for postponement of that item so they can finish the finalization before it comes back on the floor.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Seeing or hearing no discussion, those in favor of postponing those two items? Those in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
I know, thank you all. Any opposition? And any abstentions? None. Items 2.3 and items 2 are postponed. I'm looking for the other motion to take the agenda out of order.
So I'll make a motion that when we get to item 2.2, we consider item 2.6 at the same time.
Second.
Okay, so items 2.2, everyone who doesn't have the agenda, the items been made, properly made in second. Items 2.2 is a resolution from the mayor Aralumpalam, authorizing the city of Hartford surplus dollars to purchase 3 parcels identifies as 255 Garden Street, 51 Homestead Avenue, and 101 Homestead Avenue. Items 2.6 is another resolution authorized for Mayor Aralumpalam, authorizing the city to accept a $1.6 million community investment fund grant from the State of Connecticut DECD Development Department. So the item has been, motion has been made and properly second to take those items, out of order as we proceed with our agenda. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. Hearing any opposition, any abstention? The ayes have it to take those 2 items out of order on the agenda. Okay, so now that we have done that, and because we have a large agenda this evening and trying to be as efficient as possible, let's start with what's the first item on the agenda, which is items 2.1. It's a resolution from Mayor Aralumpalam to enter into a purchase and sales agreement for the sales of parcel at 17 and 21 Wells Street. Who do we have from the administration to speak on that item?
Council President, that'll be me, Council President.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Newly Assistant Economic Development Director, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay. So I'm gonna borrow your screen here.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. And I think this was initially presented at the last meeting. There were some questions that I think we sent addressed, so I'm going to go over it again for in case there was someone here that didn't see the presentation. So this is the resolution authorizing the sale of 17 Wall Street and 21 Wall Street, which is the 2 lots behind 525, which is what we call the Cornerstone Building, or it was really the Donahue Building. So just to recap it, back in 2019, the city issued an RFP for the sale of 525 Main Street. Spectra Construction / Winter Works was selected as a developer. Part of the deal was that we would lease out 17 and 21 Wall Street for parking. That they would use for parking for the residential units, and then they had up to 10 years to develop the lot. They put together recently a construction project that finally penciled out, and they're ready to move forward with what we would call phase 2 of the development, which would be the parking lot. It's going to be a new development, approximately 84 residential units. It's going to be a mix of studios, 1 apartment, 2 apartments, and 58 parking spaces. So it's the first 2 levels are going to be parking, and then 4 stories of residential units on top of that. And here's a mix: 56 studios, 16 1-bedrooms, 12 2-bedrooms. So the project cost is going to be approximately $20.8 million. It's going to be funded with a CRDA loan and a senior loan. typical disposition agreement, purchase and sale will issue. They'll comply with the city and WBE and the living wage requirements. And then we're also asking for a tax deal. It's going to be based on revenue years 1 through 3. They remain flat, and then from years 4 through 8, 5% of the revenue, and then 9 through 15, 10%, and then years 6 through 20, 15%, and it levels out at the current the current CRDA rate at that moment. It'll be 20% workforce housing, which is going to be between 80 and 120 AMI, the area of medium income, based on the Hartford, West Hartford, East Hartford, based, Connecticut HUD metro area. So there's some layouts here, the typical floor plans that were proposed. You can see the parking floor plans. And then there's going to be a connection of the building with the 525 building on every level. And we do have, so these are some of the pictures of what they may be looking like, similar to what's been put up at 525. So I do have Daniel Kleinberg here. He can, if there's any questions, he can talk about his entity and any specific project questions.
Thank
Yep,
you.
more than happy to answer any questions. And just as a very quick one sentence thing, we've had a lot of pleasure and success developing in Hartford. We have over 550 units online currently, and 75 in progress.
Mr. Kleinberg, I think you're a little bit.
Developing.
Hello, Mr. Kleinberg. It's very far. You're not coming. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah, maybe I should speak a little louder. Sorry. Just in general, just a quick one sentence thing. We've had a lot of enjoyment and success developing in Hartford. We have over 550 units that are active there, another 75 that are coming on before the end of this year. And we look forward to it and happy to answer any questions. Really appreciate everything.
Thank you. What
You want me to stop sharing, or?
Yes, please. I don't know if any other council members have questions. Majority Leader Rossetti.
Thank you, Council President. Mr. Kleinberg, because I get this asked frequently, of those 550 present units, how many of those are rented?
We've had a rental rate of occupancy rate of over 95% for a reasonable amount of time now. So we're at around 95%.
And another question, Council President, if I may.
Sure,
I know within the last few years we changed the ratio of how many parking spots per unit or space. What that I sort of understand. What is the fee for parking?
We're at around $150 a month for parking. Sometimes that fluctuates a bit.
So is that figured in when we're looking at the different units as far as income?
In our performa and underwriting, we have a separate line item for parking, and in our overall revenue, it is figured in there.
So again, Council President, if I may, if someone of a certain income, a lower income, they may not be able to get parking because they wouldn't be able to because of the fee. Is the parking fee similar to the rental fee, or is it all a flat 150?
So the parking is an ancillary, and it's a flat amount. The rental fee, we do have a percentage of affordable housing on the property. But our parking is really in line with market rate parking that's in the areas. There are other parking lots in the surrounding neighborhood. So we just keep it kind of at that market level.
And I'm not, it's not, I think we need to be mindful as we continue to develop, and we price people out of things that other people take for granted. And I think we need to think about that as a council. That's all I have to say. But it's not I'm not pointing to you in particular, Mr.
No, I
Lynch.
understand. Yep. Right.
Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome, ma'am. Let me see. No other hands. Let me ask my question. Is the Wells Street, and looking at your drawing, Mr. Diaz, I see you can go from the Wells Street over to 525. Are there any ability for the 525 renters also to be able to get any of the parking space on Wells Street?
Yes, we do plan on having those parking spots to serve both buildings, 525 Main Street and 17 Wall Street.
Okay. Because originally, there was supposed to be parking for 525, so if there's also included when you build that parking garage, that'd be great. They're
Yep.
also included. And
We're doubling the number of parking with 17 Wall Street, and it'll be to serve both buildings, correct? Yeah.
and how many parking spaces are there?
There will be 58 parking spaces total.
And you've done your performer already, and so I'm going to, what Council Majority Leader Rossetti brought up. Is there, I know you're saying there's 150 for one flat fee, but is there in your numbers that 20% of the 80 to 100 AMI, for those
Workforce.
Workforce renters, are there any discount can be given to them? Looking at your numbers?
So I actually, to be frank, it never even kind of crossed our minds, and it hasn't come up yet. I think it's definitely something that we could consider and do.
What do you think, Majority Leader Rossetti?
Say that again. I'm sorry. I couldn't hear it.
No, I'd asked Mr. Kleinberg if there was any possibility for any sort of discount or whatever for the workforce, that 20% workforce rental that you had mentioned. And he had said that idea never came up, so it has come up now. And continue, Mr. Kleinberg, in response to Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yeah, and I was saying that's definitely something we would be willing to consider. Yeah, it's not something that came up, with the Affordable Housing Council, and we follow obviously all of the requirements there. But we would be happy to extend that kind of discount to affordable housing residents.
Council President, if I may,
Yes.
I think you could take the lead on this and some others could follow with some type of action like that.
And we could also ask Assistant Economic Development newly appointed Mr. Diaz, as he put the deals together, going forward, to take that in consideration and ask the developer regarding that 20% workforce rental.
Okay, yeah, it's something we can consider in future deals and incorporate into the term sheets, yeah.
Okay, Councilman Gale.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. A couple of questions, if I may. First, to Mr. Diaz, I have the term sheet, and it maybe it's I'm not seeing it, but I don't see where the 20% affordable housing component is in the term sheet. Can you point me to where it is, or can we amend it to make sure it's included in there?
Yeah, let me take a look at it one second.
Well, I can point out that on the city council resolution, which I'm guessing is different than the term sheet, but I know it's outlined there, including for, our original project 525 Main, but I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not sure if that translates.
There was a new term sheet for the Wells Street project.
Correct.
And I don't have mine in front of me. Well, while you're looking for that, if you can't find that, William, right now in front of you, could you point that out and send that information over?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine so long as if it's not, we get a revised
Right.
term sheet that specifically includes that.
It's in the resolution, correct?
I don't really see it in the, Frank, I'm not sure I see it in the resolution either.
Well, since we have so much more items on the agenda, is there any way we can make sure that's there going forward before we vote on this at the,
Well, I can certainly make the motion subject to it being added to the term sheet, Madam Chair.
I think that would be a huge help, Councilman Gale, so we can, since we have such a large agenda.
If I may, I had another
Oh, please go ahead, sir.
question, if we would
Mhm.
deal with that one. And some of this is more observation than questions, but there have been a number of tax fixing agreements that the city of Hartford has entered into over the last 10 years. These tax fixing agreements have been instrumental in getting new development in Hartford. We went for many, many years without a single new development in the city. And I'm certain that the development we have seen over the course of the last 10 years is in large part due to the fact that we've entered into tax fixing agreements. So we've essentially become a partner with the developers in helping to create, for the most part, housing. And in return, developers have been promising to set aside certain components of the housing, as we've just discussed, 20% in this case for some affordable housing component. All of those tax fixing agreements, those prior tax fixing agreements, for the most part, I could be, I may not be 100% right on this, but it seems to me that all of those tax fixing agreements were 10-year tax fixing agreements. And I note that this is a 20-year tax fixing agreement. So this is now twice as long as the typical tax fixing agreement that we have been. I'm kind of hoping that doesn't become a trend, because certainly one of the promises for this development is that at some point in time, we're actually going to see a lot of taxes come out of these things, and it's going to help our residential neighborhoods and our multifamily housing, which is right now carrying a huge tax burden. And I'm fearful that in 2026, when we have reval, given what's happened with commercial, there's going to be an even larger burden shift onto our residential. So not sure if there's a specific reason why we went from 10 to 20 years in this tax fixing agreement. I will note that having compared this tax fixing agreement with the one for 525, that we are going to receive more. It's a higher percentage of rental income that is going to be paid in taxes over time than 525. So it's a bit of a better deal for the city of Hartford. but it still locks the city in for 20 years. So I don't know if Mr. Walker, Mr. Diaz, if anybody would care to comment on any of that.
Yes, prior to 2023, it was capped at 10 years. Now we can actually, by legislation, go up to 30 years, a tax freezing agreement. And we obviously have the same concerns you do. We don't want to, we want to do what's in the best interest of the city. This particular deal, initially, we were working this back in early 2024, and unfortunately, it did not pencil out at all. I think they were going 6 stories, so they had to revise their whole development plan, came back to us, and we go back and forth with the developer. We have consultants we work with, try to figure out what's the least aggressive deal that we can do for the city. And this is the only way that this project would pencil out, would be by going 20 years. If we did the 10 years, it would not have worked out. And even going back to last year, even with the 20-year tax deal last year, it didn't work out. It didn't pencil out. So.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome. Councilman Mitchum.
Thank you. So maybe this comment actually is helpful in terms of what we're talking about with the term sheet. I was actually gonna raise the question of that parking question. Mr. Kleinberg said that they have no problem with sort of applying the same low income discount to parking that they apply to rent. So can that go in the term sheet? Like, could we send this back with approval subject to that modification? And I would say, and subject to the 20% affordable being reflected in the term sheet. And I ask it both to my colleagues and to Mr. Rivera and Mr. Kleinberg. It seems like it's not a big deal from the developer's perspective.
I have no problems with that if that's included in the term sheet. Councilman Gale, Majority Leader Rossetti, have any issues, or Councilman Rosado, Councilman Hernandez?
I do have a question.
Sure.
Because we're not looking at a 1-for-1.
Yeah.
So we have, was it 58 parking spaces? So how do we determine how many
Pro
of the
rata.
parking spaces, huh?
Pro rata, the percentage of affordable to the total units in 525 and this.
Oh, see, I would have just said, so there's not as many parking spaces as there are units. Is that
Oh,
what you're
not
saying?
at all.
Right, there is not.
And how do you decide who gets the parking space? Is it just sort of first come, first serve?
It's on a first come, first serve basis, yeah.
So why not just have it be that if the person getting the parking space is in as under the affordable section, they get the affordable parking rate. Just peg it to the rent that the person's getting.
So, I think we could do something like that. I think determining the percentage is also difficult because there's different, market rate units and, the discount amount. Even though I'm definitely fine with including some sort of language like that. The last qualm that I just might want to bring up is all of our underwriting has been, checked in out thoroughly by the city and also by CRDA. So, if it has an effect on our underwriting, it could have some impact on our lenders. So the affordable requirement was already incorporated. With this, it might have some impact. So, if there's a way to word it that like a discount can be offered or something, if there's some way that's okay with CRD, with the city, happy to include it. Just a small caveat to note.
Majority
I
Leader.
appreciate that,
Yeah.
and that sounds good to me.
Yeah, and to Councilman Mitchum's point, and to be considerate to what William is saying and what you're saying, Mr. Kleinberg. What if, and again, this is good faith. What if good faith that anyone who does rent within the 20% is offered the 20% reduction or whatever we, oh my God, there's a noise in my house. It scared me. Sorry. That we offer that. I mean, I don't want to, I understand what has happened and maybe we on the next, go around, we start with this, but can we in a way, William, put it into language that doesn't affect underwriting? We don't have to, but it does state clearly that this discussion happened or something like that.
And you want that in the term sheet.
Yes.
And Dana, as long as the developer is open to, Daniel, if you're open to that.
Yeah, I
you can-
think we could, if we consider it a good faith effort,
Good
and
faith
we could
effort.
definitely put it in there as a good faith effort, then I think we're fine with that
I
language.
appreciate it.
Maybe we can
I
give
think
us
that's
a,
good.
if you can give us a few days to come up with that language, and then I can submit the term sheet prior to the next council meeting.
Yeah, the next council meeting is July. When is our next council meeting? I believe our next, we only have one more,
14th.
the 14th. So there's only
14th.
one council meeting in July. So you would need to get that to us and to the town clerk's office to be included in the agenda. So, okay,
Madam President, just one other question. I'm sorry. And I did bring this up last time, just talking about sort of the way that the affordability is calculated, and then includes West Hartford and East Hartford, which of course throws it way off for actual Hartford residents. And I know it's too late to make a change now on that. That's an established rule, but I'm just curious, what are the rents, for the various kinds of unit right now? Like I want to understand, like, what is affordable? What are the affordable rents?
Do you have that
So-
information, Daniel? Like, if you do,
I mean, it's ever changing. We do have the latest, but it also goes by unit size, family size, and there's different AMI levels. So you're going from 40% AMI to 140 or 160% AMI. And it's also not just about the rents, but it's also about income limits. So it's kind of there's a grid, there's a spectrum of answers to that question. I could definitely find.
Let me see. What's your cheapest two bed? What's the cheapest a 2-bedroom would go for? That's kind of what I want.
So currently on 525, we don't have any 2 bedrooms, but for the 1 bedrooms, I'd have to see it. I believe it's like in the maybe 1,600 or 1,700 range, but I don't want to be held to that. I would have to see.
I'm trying to get ballpark just to understand, and I say this really for my colleagues. This is a thing that we should revisit, because 1,600 for a 1-bedroom, I'm sure is quite affordable for West Hartford, and probably middling for East Hartford. But
I don't think you
again,
can get
our
anything
median
in West
household-
Hartford for 1,600, Councilman
Nothing in
Mick.
West
right, it's quite affordable, is what I'm saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
But our median household income is 41 grand a year, and 1,600 is it's a chunk of money. I just put it out there for us to think about in the future. That's all. I got nothing else.
So, Councilman, I just sent you an Excel spreadsheet of some of the income limits. Unfortunately, I can't open it. It's blocking me from opening it, but it's an Excel spreadsheet, so you should be able. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me. But so I got that
All
from
right, I
Bobby
appreciate
this
it.
morning. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
so I am open for a motion on the floor. If there's any more questions or any more discussion.
I'll make
So,
a motion to send this back to council with a favorable recommendation, subject to a revised term sheet that incorporates the 20% affordable housing component that's been discussed, and the good faith effort with respect to offering parking to those same individuals.
Second.
Second.
Okay, that was a whole mouthful there, Councilman Gale. So a motion has been made.
That's why it's being recorded. Don't ask me to repeat that.
Absolutely, and I hope your assistant is taking copious notes on this. So let me see if I can. So we have a motion is properly second to send back favorably to the overall council body a recommendation, a favorable recommendation with a revised term sheet taking consideration the affordable good faith effort on parking. Is there more?
The affordable
And the
housing
20%
component
set aside.
itself,
And I'm sorry, and yeah, and making sure the term sheet has the 20% affordable or workforce percentages in the term sheet.
right.
Okay, so I hope everybody gets that. And so it's been properly second. Any discussion, any other additional discussion? Seeing or hearing no discussion, those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right. Any opposition, any abstentions, seeing or hearing none? This item will be sent back favorably with the revised information for the term sheet back to the city council overall council body for the July 14th meeting. Mr. Kleinberg, thank you very much for attending our council meeting, and thank you very much for also working with us to making sure that workforce renters are properly accommodated in the city of Hartford. Again, thank you.
Oh,
And-
thank you. It's my pleasure to attend and really have a great experience working with you on all these projects, and really appreciate everything that you all do.
And guys, can I also say that I went on a tour this morning off 525, and if anyone has the time, would like to go on a tour, please reach out to Mr. Diaz to schedule something for you to take a look at it, because I was impressed. And I also want to say that speaking Mr. Kleinberg, he was, as many complaints as we hear about DDS and getting permits and everything else, he was remarkably very pleased working with the city of Hartford. So thank you very much. Yeah, that we hear such good news.
Thank you. Our
Appreciate
pleasure.
the
Thank you again.
feedback. Yeah, thanks.
Hey, thank you. So let's moving on to items 2.4. Items 2.4 is a resolution from Mayor Aralampulam authorizing the city of Hartford for the sale of 13 Enfield Street.
Okay.
And who is going to be presenting on that item?
That's gonna be me.
Boy, told you,
So I do have on the call Gregory, and he is the owner of 17 Enfield Street. Is that correct?
15.
15. So yeah, so 13 is the condo unit next to his condo unit, which has been extremely blighted. We get constant complaints about it. So Gregory, which owns the unit and has it out for rental, the 15, had reached out to the city a while ago about acquiring this property. For 20, I think it's $25,000. He's going to invest between $40,000 and $50,000 into the project and put it into the property and put it back out to rental. For us, it makes sense. He's already renting his property at the same site, so economy of scales, he's going to be able to maintain both properties, and he's familiar with the area.
thank you. As a matter of fact, I just drove by the site today just to, observation.
Mhm.
And it is great that the next door, would be, you have one side that looks decent and the other side that doesn't. So doing this would make that, that area bring up both sides of the condos. So I just want to thank Mr. Diaz for bringing that to our attention. And Mr. Gregory, as I said, I saw, is it 13? I'm not sure which one.
13, yeah,
15.
13 is the one we're saying. 15 is the one that he currently.
All right. So yeah, as I said, I drove by it today, and you can certainly see the difference in both sides.
Yeah.
And Mr. Gregory, you have anything else to add to the information?
No.
Okay. How long have you owned 15?
About 5 years now.
You've owned it for 5 years.
Yes.
Okay. And what is the rental for 15? How many bedrooms is that?
3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. I get $18.50 a month.
18 or 850?
$18.50, $1,850.
And for a 3 bedroom, and is that a coal flat and they pay their own utilities?
Yes. They pay gas and electric.
Yes, right, in that neighborhood. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Gregory, for answering my question. Councilman Gale.
Yeah, just so I'm oriented, I was just pulling up the street level view. Is this like a 4-unit building?
Correct.
And so which unit do you own and which one are we selling to you?
I own 15
Yeah,
and
where is it when I'm looking at the building? If I'm looking at it from the street, left side, right side,
left side.
all the way to the left is your unit?
No, all the way to the left is 13.
Okay, and which one's yours?
The one adjacent, 15.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you. Just mention one other comment to you. I was born on Enfield Street, so it's got a very soft spot in my heart. I wish you tremendous success with it and make it look beautiful. I drive by there from time to time to check out the old homestead, so I'll be checking out your progress.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing or hearing any other questions, I'm open for motion.
Move to send this back to council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
There is a motion that's been properly second to send some 2.4 for the sale of 13 Enfield Street favorably to the overall council body. Any discussions? All right, any seeing or hearing no discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposition, any abstention? Seeing none, this item will be sent back to the city council overall body and a favorable recommendation for the sale of 13 Enfield Street. Thank you, Mr. Gregory, for joining us at our meeting.
Thank you.
You will be coming by, I was swinging by after, and I just had one question. How long is this going to take for the renovations to be done so I can swing by and see the difference?
From the day of closing, I would say about 60 days.
Okay. So, well, Mr. Councilman Gale lives, was living or born in the area, so I'm sure he'll swing by, and I'm just gonna drive by because I live in that neck of the woods around that neighborhood. So thank you
Okay.
so very much.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Right. Thanks, Gregory.
Mhm. All right, so next item on the agenda is items 2.6. And it is a resolution from Mayor Aralumpalam to authorize, wait a second, hold on. I'm gonna do 2.2 first. Did we do 2 point?
They're together, Council
Yeah, they're
President.
together. So I'm gonna do 2.2. We're gonna read items 2.2 and 2.6, which are very similar items. And so therefore we can vote on them separately, but at least it'll be one presentation so everyone can see the direct relationship. So items 2.2, again, it's a resolution authorizing the the sale of purchase for 3-parcel Garden Street, Homestead Avenue, 51 Homestead Avenue and 101 Homestead Avenue. And then items 2.6 is a resolution authorizing the city to accept $1.6 million of community investment fund from the state of Connecticut DECD. So those are the two items. We will vote separately, but at least there'll be one presentation so everyone can see the relationship between 2.2 and 2.6. Mr. Diaz, I presume you're going to be talking in both items?
That is correct. So if I can share the screen again.
Your floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. And again, this is another one of the presentations that was initially presented back in the June meeting. So, but I'll recap it for those that were not around. So currently, as of November 24, the city of Hartford entered into a letter of intent agreement to purchase these 3 parcels on the Homestead Corridor, pending obviously council resolution and availability of funds. In December of last year, we submitted a request for funding from the state of Connecticut, DCD, for the Community Investment Fund to acquire these 3 properties. These 3 properties are the only ones on that block between Sigourney and Garden, which are not owned by the city of Hartford. At the same time, the city has commissioned Collier's Engineering and Design to develop a redevelopment plan for the Homestead corridor, going all the way up to Albany Avenue and touching into onto Walnut Street. And these 3 properties are, huge properties in that corridor that have been underutilized for quite a while. Acquiring these 3 properties would be imperative in creating a vibrancy and connectivity throughout the development. The city was awarded the $1.6 million from DCD for the acquisition. State Bond Commission approved this back in April. So this is a map of what the redevelopment plan looks like. This is a list of properties that are under city control in the area, and the 3 properties that are currently owned by St. Francis are the ones that we're trying to acquire: 101 Homestead, 51 Homestead, 255 Garden Street. So at the time when we put the 2 resolutions in, we were trying to, although we were awarded when the resolution went in, it didn't go through the bond commission yet. So we have to wait for the bond commission before we can start spending down on state dollars. So the first resolution is going to allow us to enter into a purchase and sales agreement with the seller. And the second resolution is for the acceptance of the grant. The reason we want to purchase it using city dollars is because we still have to go with the second resolution to accept the grant dollars. We still have to go through the contracting stage, which can take several months. We want to enter into a purchase and sales agreement, gives a due diligence period. And as soon as that's done, the Homestead corridor study is getting close to being concluded, and we do want to put out an RFP and have site control on that whole area, corridor between Garden Street and Homestead. So that's what. So we changed initially. I think Councilman Rentham had a concern about the language when we say surplus dollars. So we sent over a revised resolution and changed surplus to just city dollars, which allows the city to use, which we typically use CIP dollars to upfront projects, which can be reimbursable. Although even if we use surplus dollars, I did confirm that we can reimburse that account also. But just to be more clear and less confusion, we submitted it to change it from surplus to city. So
Did you send that over to everyone, William?
I sent it over through the administration. Did you not receive it?
I don't. It's in my email as yet. Has anybody checked their email to see if they received the revised? Okay.
If not, I can send it over to everyone right now. It was just one word, basically, where it says surplus, we changed surplus to city. I think it was the 7th whereas.
Okay.
Of the agreement.
Okay. Let me just add to William's presentation a little bit more about most of the properties that's owned by the city are from Garden Street all the way up to Homestead and Homestead Avenue all the way up to Albany Avenue. And that there's been a huge discussion over the last 10 years and with the NRZ for development on this of these properties. About 2 to 3 years ago, the NRZ was awarded some funds for development of a piece of property in Homestead Avenue. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. So DECD gave us some funds for actual study of all of Homestead Avenue. Subsequently, during all this time, St. Francis was building their new garage, and the properties on Homestead Avenue were used for parking while their new garage was being built. And so now that they have a new garage, the property is just sitting there actually empty. Nothing is being done to it. So part of our Homestead Avenue study, including with the neighborhood and the city, is for development on Homestead Avenue, which over the several decades and the years have been industrial business on that stretch of property. Also, one of the proposition from the city was to also use some or a piece of the property to incorporate a fire station that was down by, I think it's Sigourney and Niles, if I'm not mistaken. And instead of renovating that, a couple 100 years old fire station, they would then, build a new fire station in one of the pieces of property in Homestead Avenue, which was also serve, a lot of the Asylum Hill neighborhood also. I would say that the residents in the neighborhood is all in favor of purchasing these 3 pieces of a property, because those were funds that was actually slated 3 years ago in Upper Albany for economic development. So this is certainly is in line with what the neighborhood would like to see happen on Homestead Avenue. So I can add that to the presentation since I live in the neighborhood.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Again, let me also state that, you've got an agreement with St. Francis to buy the property now. When you work with DECD, it takes several months. By the time you finish all the paperwork for them to fund that 1.6, we would like to see those properties get, sold to us, wrapped up, it's in our hands. And then when the monies come in from DECD, we can reimburse back that line item. Any questions? Councilman Gale.
Yeah, and I think I'm just asking for confirmation of something that Mr. Diaz already mentioned, and it was, I believe, what was brought up at the last meeting, which was just, we were just looking to make sure that the fact that the city purchases this before and doesn't purchase it with that money, but gets the money and reimburses itself, doesn't change the nature of the money. I think the concern there was we didn't want us to somehow lose surplus dollars and these dollars become characterized in some other fashion. And I think, Mr. Diaz, you've said that is the case.
Yeah, although that is the case, I did submit, and I'm going to email it right now, a revised resolution just to make sure that there's no fuzzy area, changing the language in the 7th whereas to reflect city funding instead of surplus funding.
So then that would really just come right out of our budget and be reimbursed into our budget.
Like typically the grant funding is reimbursable anyway, and we usually use CIP dollars, and then when we go back to the state and get reimbursed. But just to clear any confusion, we're changing surplus funding to city funding. That way it doesn't, although I confirmed with the management and budget that it's okay, I think I'm more comfortable changing that language to make sure there's no hiccups.
Great, thank you.
Yep. So, and I don't think everyone's seen it, so I'm gonna send it over right now.
Okay. Any other questions? Don't see any. Councilman Mitchell, we can hear you. Okay, no questions? Okay. Seeing or hearing no other questions regarding, first, since there's 2 separate items, we have to vote on items 2.2 with a motion and then a second vote for items 2.6.
So I'll make a motion to send item 2.2 back to council favorably, subject to the revised resolution that we're about to get from Mr. Diaz.
Second.
Great. A motion is properly made and second to send back favorably to the council a revised resolution that we will be receiving currently. Any discussions?
Madam President, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
So I realized that in the course of this back and forth, sorry, that's my dog. I called Mr. Diaz Mr. Rivera, and I'm not really sure why, but I wanted to apologize.
And Mr.
That's all.
Mitchum, don't forget to say he's the Assistant Director of Economic Development. You know, you got to properly address people in their title, sir.
It's fine.
Thank you. All right.
And by the way, Madam President, I
Yeah.
have just received and I'm looking at Mr. Diaz's revised resolution. So it exists, it's here.
Great. And you will send that down to the staff who's going to be doing the report for this committee meeting, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. And get it down to the town clerk's office. All right, so we have a resolution been properly made in second. There was no more discussion away from Mr. Diaz's name. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the ayes have it. Any objections, any abstentions? Seeing or hearing none, items 2.2 will be sent back to the overall council body with a favorable recommendation, as long as we have the revised resolution changes in the 7th whereas. Thank you, Councilman Gale. Thank you, Councilman. Items 2.6 now. We certainly need another motion on the floor.
Move to send item 6 back with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Items 2.6. There's been a motion on the floor and properly second to send back items 2.6 to the overall body with a favorable recommendations. Are there any discussion? Seeing or hearing the discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. We will be sending back items 2.6 to the favorable recommendation to the overall council body. Thank you, everyone. We only has 2 more items to go. I think that was a pretty heavy committee meetings tonight. All right, next up on the agenda is items 2.7. And that item reads, it's a resolution authorizing the city of Hartford to accept $250,000 from Community Investment Fund Planning Grant from the State of Connecticut Department of Economic Development, Development Department. Who'll be speaking in this item?
That'll be me.
The Assistant Director, please go ahead, sir, you have the floor.
Okay, so this is the at the last round of well, 2 rounds ago for CIF applications, the city submitted a CIF application, I'm sorry, for a possible transportation hub at this location. The DECD, although they're impressed with the project, but instead they awarded us a $250,000 planning grant to address some of the outstanding fundamental questions. So although the scope of work for the 250 has not been finalized, there are several items, like I said, that need fundamental questions that need to be addressed. We're talking about traffic patterns, what road closures would look like. This is the main route for people to enter into I-84 eastbound through there. So how is that going to affect traffic in the area? There's also the historic bridge situation that needs to be preserved. There are demolition estimates. There's environmental concerns with the building. So the grant dollars are going to be sent directly, or no, it's going to be sent directly to the city of Hartford. So it's going to be, these are questions that we need to address before we engage or work with any development team on this proposed transportation hub or anything else that's proposed in the area. So basically, it's the grant directly to the city of Hartford to address some of these concerns that we have, and also the state has.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. Any questions? Councilman Gale.
So I have a very large question with respect to this entire project, and I sent an email around earlier today. And I believe I brought this up in the past. We have, as a city, a very long history at this point in time with the so-called Talcott Street Plaza, which I'm assuming includes the two parcels that are known as 30, I think it's 30 Talcott Street and 36 Talcott Street.
Correct, the front
which is pretty much everything from Market Street. I think it may go all the way up to Main Street. I'm not sure if it includes the parking lot on Main Street as well. We passed a resolution, I'm looking at it, January 23rd of 2018, so that's now 7 years ago, that very specifically stated that Shelbourne Properties were going to invest $10 million in the redevelopment of Talcott Plaza. And Talcott Plaza in that was defined as those two properties. There was a very specific timeline incorporated into that resolution as to when these Talcott properties were going to be redeveloped, and in exchange for that promise by Shelbourne Properties, they received substantial tax relief from the city of Hartford. This was a very massive settlement agreement that included the taxes on the Stilts building at that point in time, and a multi-year resolution of a tax appeal. And I know that there were two subsequent resolutions that I also have copies of that then where city council then extended the time frame for Shelbourne Properties to redevelop the Talcott Plaza. I've not heard anything else about the Talcott Plaza. I don't know of anything else that's come before council where we have amended these, revised them, withdrawn them, done anything to them. So I'm just wondering where's Talcott Plaza today in reference to this prior action that we seem to have taken?
I'll take that one. So it's complicated, John, Councilman. I spoke to Shelbourne today because this has come up, and I've been very curious about exactly what the provisions were in the resolutions and other documents. I need to follow up with our own council. So the first point is, I think this particular acceptance of the funding has nothing to do with what will happen to Talcott, after we do it, or who will build there. There's just certain foundational issues that we can't even apply to the state until we can explain what shutting that down to demo it would do basically to Morgan Street and some other places. So the 250 is independent of all of this. I would like to say, as to the obligations that Shelbourne and Laz have from that 2019, or actually from 2020 resolution, this is where we need to get a more complete file, because Shelbourne believes that conversations, at least, and written documents with the previous mayor increased their obligation here from 10 to 15,000, but also loosened the obligations on where they spent and where they invested that money. I don't have that documentation in front of me, and this is new, we're researching it, and I'm going to speak with council tomorrow on this. But they do believe they've been operating in good faith. They do believe that the amendments loosen them from actually, investing specific amounts of money into this particular project. And that said, they do believe they have been trying to work this through different angles, and it just hasn't happened. I'm not defending, I'm kind of stating the two sides because I'd like to see more of what went on after this original resolution, which to your point is pretty darn clear. And even the message from their lawyer does reference the tie between the 10 million and the demo of that property. I don't have a great answer for you on this one, but I do believe, we have to figure this one out. I wish I had a better answer.
I think this was in the materials that I sent over today.
Mm-hmm.
There is the First Amendment to tax fixing agreement. And in that First Amendment to tax fixing agreement, it does state in Section 5 that the development fund
Mm-hmm.
will be increased by $5 million. So again,
Okay.
for the additional relief that they were getting from us at that time, they agreed to increase by $5 million the development fund,
Mm-hmm.
Raising the total to $15 million.
Yes, that
There
tracks.
is, to my knowledge, nothing that then allows the money to be used anywhere else but the Talcott Plaza. And I would say, from a council perspective, this was very important. Developing Main Street along with the baseball park that was already finished at that point in time, the pennant that was under construction at that point in time, this empty lot on Main Street stands as a gaping hole between the rest of Main Street and this was very important. And I thought it was very important to the administration at the same time that parking lot and that garage behind be developed, and they were going to take the responsibility of demoing it and developing it. So anyway, thank you very much for appreciating the concern. I understand there's no reason to hold up this particular resolution, but I do hope that council can expect to get some pretty clear direction as to what's, what is going on here. And so all the parties are on the same page. I mean, we certainly respect that Shelbourne's been a partner here in development downtown. They've been doing some, quite a bit of other things, and those are all very good things. But just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with respect to promises made.
I 100% agree with you, John. We need to get clarity on this. It's right now, Shelbourne is saying there are other documents that should be added into this file. I haven't seen them yet. But I see exactly what you're reading, and you deserve a response. So let me work with council, and we'll get back to you on that one. Our corporate counsel will do that.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome, sir. So basically, those are issues that, aside from right now, accepting this 250,000 from DECD. So some kind of strategic plan, whatever needs to happen, take a look at it. So I hope the council will, accept this 250,000 so we can find out what we can do and how we go forward, and also answering Councilman Gale's issue regarding past agreement. So I'm open for a motion on the floor.
Move to send this back with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Great. The motion has been made and properly second to send back items 2.7 with a favorable recommendation to the overall council body. Are there any discussion? Seeing or hearing no discussion, are there any? Seeing or hearing no discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any abstention? Any abstention, any opposition? None. The ayes have it. This item will be referred back favorable to the council overall body for the next council meeting. Okay, one last item on the agenda as we move on, because some of the council members have other commitments.
Hmm.
So items 2.8, this is the last item on the agenda, is the resolution, accompanying resolution from Mayor Arulampalam authorizing the city to accept $4 million grant from the State of Connecticut Department of Economic Development, DECD, for the demolition and abatement of 150 Windsor Street Data Center. Who will be talking about this issue?
That'll be me, Council President.
Really? Okay, Mr. Diaz, please go right ahead. You have the floor,
Share the
sir.
screen. So this is a not a CIF grant. This is a brownfields grant. So we applied for $4 million to assist with the funding on the 150 Street data center. So we actually put this out to bid so we can, instead of throwing numbers out there, we actually have hard numbers to bring this building down. So it's roughly $9.4 million. Right now, we have most of the money. We're working actively with DECD. There is a $2 million gap that they're helping us trying to figure out how to address. We're having good conversations with them, so it looks like we're moving in the right direction. For those that don't know, 150 Windsor Street is the old Bank of America data center, which is incorporated through a development agreement with RMS companies. So they have the rights to develop that parcel. I know so upon demolition, we do have some ideas of, I know people have heard about a possible AI center and things of that nature. So we do have some high level renderings of what that may be looking like. So this, if you can look at your screen, this is the property right behind the baseball stadium. And again, this is under development rights with RMS companies. So whatever we do will have to be in partnership with RMS companies. And I know Jeff may talk a little bit more about the proposed vision of this area. But the money is for, like I said, abatement and demolition. It's a very dangerous building. You go in there, people are constantly breaking in, highly contaminated. It's been stripped of copper by copper thieves. There's people active every day where, we have to secure it constantly. So it's something that needs to go down as soon as possible for safety purposes also. So I don't know if Jeff, if you want to talk a little bit about the vision, or if you guys have questions directly related to the demolition component of the project right now. So.
Before Mr. Hawker says anything, I was going to invite Mr. Hawker, after the summer, because everyone is on vacation, to actually come to the committee and give a detailed presentation of, what is an AI center and the mission on his goal, and how, we're going to do this within the city. So currently, all we're doing with this resolution is accepting the money for the demolition, which really needs to happen. All the copper pipes, everything has been stolen out of there. Homeless people have been living there. And this is like, as you enter into our city of Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
So it, aesthetic wise, it doesn't look good. So it'd be great if we can get, this building demolished and off of the tax roll. I mean, off of the, the way things look, and have something actually substantial to be built there. And it's a great opportunity to do the AI center. And, it's an on and off the highway, so both 84, 91. And I'm hoping Mr. Ock will come back in maybe September or October of our council meeting to actually give us a presentation on the proposal for the AI center, because we see a lot of stuff in the newspaper, but would love to get a little bit more detailed. Mr. Walker, would you accept our invitation for September?
Happily. I will definitely come out.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding accepting this $4 million for the demolition of that building?
Council President, I don't have a question, but I'd like to make a motion to refer this back to council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Rosado. We have a motion that's been properly seconded to recommend favorably back to the overall council, a favorable recommendation in accepting this $4 million grant. Is there any more discussion? Seeing or hearing no discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Any abstention? The ayes have it favorably. This is back to the council overall body with a favorable recommendation. Seeing that we have no other items on the agenda, would like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good 4th.
Have a good 4th, everyone. Be safe.